Hello, everybody. I am so excited. I am so very excited to have all of you here for the very, very first edition of Scramble Chats, where you and I are going to be going behind the scenes of so many fun things that are happening in the world of children's literature in India. And I'll be talking to people who are making those things happen, doing fabulous work. We'll just get to see what goes on, all the hard work that's going on behind the things that are happening. The movers and the shakers, and the utterly, utterly lovable people that the kidlit industry here is. And we'll be talking to storytellers, and we'll be talking to book people, we'll be talking to publishers, we'll be talking to booksellers and clubbers, book clubbers, and a whole host of people, and just anybody and everybody who's making this entire world of children's literature so much more fabulous and fun for all of us. As you can see, I'm really excited, and it's going to be a series of chats that we'll be having. This is the first one, and I'll be introducing my very, very first, most loved guests in just a bit. But before that, a real warm welcome, nice hug going out from me to all of you. Big welcome to my Scramble Chats. Yes. So
yes, it does.
I'm sending out this huge, another big warm hug to Swati and Venkatesh. Here. I'm so excited to have them here, and this is the very first Scramble Chat, as we know. Let's see, and I hope you all chat. Venki, I must tell you people, if you haven't been at the receiving end of Venki's deadpan humor, I hope he displays some of it here, and we are all left wondering who he's trying to get the better of. So let's see. And Swati, in your own sweet manner, the way you just sort of embrace all of us together, we want that Swati right here today. Okay? Yes. All right.
Is it
the very first thing, the very, very first thing. Whose idea was Bukuru? I just want to understand, how did this whole thing come about? Remember, we're going to be talking a lot about the behind the scenes. So whose idea was it? Kiska dimag chala? Okay, let's have Bukuru. Name kaise aaya? And all that.
Fascinating question, actually. because it wasn't one person's idea. I know it started off. It must have started off various places. Let's say. Okay. For us, it started off in the bookstore. We had a bookstore that time, Eureka.
Yes.
So we used to have this small events. You have also seen the place. It's around 100 square feet. We used to have small events inside the place, and 15-20 kids full. There's no way we can get in more children. So we used to go out to, like, in the park next in the Jampana Forest, or one of the community centers. So the thing started growing, and that's when we first thought that why don't we make it a little bigger. Now, while we were thinking on these lines, we discovered some other people also working on thinking on these lines. So now, Swati, we had an invite from the IHC.
Yeah, I think it was the HCBF, I think, which Deepa used to run for many years.
Right.
Yeah,
Deepa
so we
and,
actually
yes.
Deepa and Devika used to run that. Fabulous. It was a weekend event, and school children used to be there. Yes. So we actually met there once or twice, and in fact they invited us to speak about Heath, how Heath came about, and how does a children's magazine work, how do you do editing and all of that. And I think in one of those meetings we had, because we're talking about it, suddenly names are coming to mind. I think Sampurna, my Pratham book, Sampurna and Manisha, and we kind of met on the steps of Habitat, and we said, we should have and that time I think we were toying with the name of a Delhi Children's Literature Festival, a bit like the Habitat Children's Forum.
Yes.
It was like Delhi Children's or something. And then I think I mean, talking to you today is so odd because I think one of our early meetings was in Cafe Turtle, you know, and so it's so odd that we are talking about it today when that article has come out by Priyanka. And it was that Cafe Turtle actually, the one in Khan Market, and we sat there, made notes about, you know, what kind of activities, will it be a day-long event or something? Because before that, what had happened was, Richa, while we were doing the sessions in the bookstore itself, you know how Joe came in as a customer sometime in 2006 or 7, Venki? I think 7 maybe.
6, I think she came for a recce of Delhi. Yeah.
You would know, Richa, when was Time Out launched?
Time Out was launched.
Time Out Delhi.
I am forgetting now. 2005.
So it was perhaps 2006, 7 or something like that. 6 or 7, and that was the time Eureka was featured in the first issue of Time Out. You know, places to go
Samina
to, something like that. Yes, Samina did. Yes, Samina did that one. Yes. And Joe, in fact, saw that article or that listing and came to see the bookstore to believe whether there could be a children's bookstore, really, you know, an all children's bookstore. My God. So that's how we became friends. And then, you know, gradually she would say, can I volunteer for this? Can I volunteer for that? So while we were doing those sessions, which we had already started to, we sort of
Interestingly, I wasn't there when she came to visit the store.
Fact or just
so she calls me after this lady leaves. I used to work, I still do, but she said there's this woman who come and very interested here, and I said, yeah, she's not coming back. I can write it down.
I just said that, you know, she had read it in the magazine and she came to see, and it was quite nice because she knew most of the titles, and we got talking about, you know, books and all of that. Anyway, so to cut a long story short, then I had approached a certain venue, you know, to probably think whether we can do a one-day event. Now, this part, which I'm not sure whether it was before the Habitat meetings or after, but certainly there was a one-page. So it was like
there was a lot of overlap because in the mean we had also met Anita Roy and Urvashi and all that. They were also like, you know, we were generally chatting about these things. So a lot of overlap. So there's no clear cut.
Yes. I remember the time we went for the GBO meeting. You know, there was a meeting at GBO also, and where all the publishers roundtable happened, and we sat there and kind of Venki very, you know, bravely said that, but we are doing it this November or something like that, where we had not a penny in the bank kind of situation.
And the GBO would have happened in August or September sometime.
That's right. Yes. It's like 3 months.
And we did a scramble. You know?
I like that. You announce it to the rest of the world and then you go about
go for it. But, you know, the thing that worked for us was always the fact that we had done those 20, 25 odd children always in a session, then moving on to a park and moving on to a community center or to the local school or something, just to, or not hire, but collaborate and take a place for some time and do sessions. So in a way, the sessions or particularly curating an event or dealing, so to speak, with a speaker or a publisher, that was not new for us. So we weren't getting into the event sphere as such. We were only, it was a continuity with what we were already doing, except that we wanted a larger audience because honestly speaking, there used to be parents with their noses on the glass door saying, can one more child come in? And I would always say, look, there's no space, even I'm standing on one corner. So those were really lovely days of Eureka, you know. So anyway, so that's how it kind of
we hope like that the second innings of Eureka will be just as sweet, or if not more. I mean, it's going to create a new generation of readers, young readers who will grow up to be absolute bookworms. Yes,
let's hope.
So after we did this, not an announcement, after we did this thing of telling people that we're going to have a festival, then we had to all of us get together, plan. That's when Subhadra Sengupta also joined us.
Yes.
And a lot of people came in, and a lot of brainstorming used to happen almost every day because there was hardly any time to get the festival up. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, typically,
so that's when that's how I was talking. I think why he mentioned was the name. So we all pitched in with names, and Bookaroo was the name that Subhadra coined actually, and it stayed with us because every one of us said, "This is it. This is it. This just kind of signifies." The excitement around just exactly what we had in mind.
You moved from Bookaroo to Bookaroo Lit Fest, the whole thing. I mean,
that was meant to be. I think that was always, it was always meant to be a literature festival. In fact, we didn't think of anything else apart from a literature festival, which would just kind of
be a children's literature festival. So
yeah. Venki, you need to move. I think
Venki,
I have a feeling your voice is just another room or something. Yeah, please.
I don't have. I just have a one-room set.
See there. We just saw it. Okay. But,
I can move, but it doesn't help. See, because I'm on the phone.
Venki, it's not. Your voice is breaking. It's just
breaking.
It's not audible at all at times.
So we might be missing out some nuggets. 1 second.
So Swati, so while he's figuring out whether to move into a 2-bedroom house now or 3-bedroom house now. See? Okay. So Swati, how long typically, I mean, for each, the big one, the Delhi Bookaroo that you'll organize, typically how long does it take to get all of it in place? So if it happens in the last week of November, when do you all start acting on it?
We start actually immediately after the last one gets over. So we take about a month's break and start writing, because you see now what has happened towards in the last few years, what has happened, a lot of publishers are working around Bookaroo also.
Right.
So they want to get advance information so that they know which books to promote where. There are themes, there are authors who are in those cities or nearby.
That happen
publisher support goes into Bookaroo. So clearly we need to therefore align with their thought process, their marketing, whatever they have, their plans, etc. So that's why to say that when do we start right away, and we start in a very sort of systematic way. We send out a mail, the common mail to everybody. And then once the mail comes in, then starts the curation part of it, So we also think of themes or little things which we don't sort of announce, but it's unsaid kind of thing, So if you are going to Ahmedabad, we'll ensure that there are certain things that we would like. For example, this year we had a 90-year-old Gandhian in Ahmedabad, He's not written a book, but he's worked with Gandhi. So, those kind of things, those connections have to be made. Those connections have to be remembered, because honestly speaking, in the last, 2003 we started and we are in 2020. So 17 years, we made lots of friends and lots of people out there. And so, when we go to a new city and stuff like that, those connections, that kind of curation happens. But yes, but honestly speaking, the other thing that happens, Richa, is even if we have made a program or something, towards the end, a lot of unpredictable things also happen. People have to drop out for various reasons, or we don't get sponsorship. So that city might not happen then, and then, another time, and that time the authors are not free, things like that. So that's why I can't say that how much time does it take. It's an ongoing thing. Even on the morning of the event also sometimes. On the morning or in the morning of the event, because, a flight is delayed. So what do? The person hasn't reached. So people can make out when you're going to somebody, another storyteller, what, Swati, who's dropped out and what is the age group.
Do you have those 2-3 totally dependable people who are your...
Our storytellers are totally dependable in that sense, and they can look at this. I mean, in Banaras, Venki, that time that Chetan couldn't make it, because his guru passed away. So he was on his way to... I remember. Yeah, you were there in Banaras, right? So you saw how we quickly had to adapt and, and somebody really understood what he was going to do and adapted according to that session, because you see, children don't know this has happened. So they are coming with a, thought of, that was, I think, a mishmash of animal stories. Yes. I think Chetan was going to do. So the person who took over quickly, went through her, and had to, adapt to it. So that is something.
Filing system. And there have been cases. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Better, I think.
And there have been instances when an author has forgotten the date. So he thinks actually tomorrow and the festival is today, and the evening, it's a 12 o'clock session. What do you do then? So 11:40, you call them up and they say, "Oh, it's tomorrow, isn't it?" No, it's today. That also has happened.
How do you? But the thing is, how do you manage to keep your sanity intact through all of this? Because let me tell you, my impression. So each time I've seen you right from the first Bookaroo. there is always such a calm. I mean, no matter what is happening, the world could be blowing apart to bits, but the two of you carry about in that really calm sort of manner around, and you're going all over the place with that little thing. How do you all do
it? It's not planned, but one thing that comes to mind, Becky, you can carry on from there, is that I think possibly we are just focusing on the child. I mean, I know it may sound very odd in a festival atmosphere. What am I trying to say? Perhaps, let's say not child, maybe the audience. I mean, yes. If you were to look at it from an adult world's point of view, is that because we are looking at the child, we are thinking, what is the child going through at this time? And what is it that she wants? So once we keep that in mind, I think everything else falls in place. Then you don't worry what is an adult thinking, or are they going to come and sort of, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that when you do that and you do it from your heart, maybe the adult also understands why you're doing that. So you feel calm about it because you're constantly looking at children. What are they doing? Where are they? Are they happy or not? You know, no scolding, no shushing, no all of that. So we're just constantly just in that mode, you know, perhaps at that time. Later on, we must be thinking about it and saying we could have done something better. Or, yeah. I don't know. Isn't that so, Venki? What would you say?
That and the fact that I think, I may sound boastful about this, but the planning is like almost impeccable. So
okay.
If anything goes wrong, that thing had to go wrong. So we can't do anything. We can't do anything about it. So it had to go wrong. That side went wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
And no point losing our. There have been stories where we had to go behind a tree and lose our cool and all. But
okay, so those are the stories that need to come out. Okay, on Scramble Chats. Okay, that's what we want to hear. All right. But I mean, how many times have you all felt, okay, never again? It's not going to happen again. I mean, we're not going to get into it. And the next moment you're back to that planning all over again. So
it has never been never. We have not said never again. But yeah, one does think, one festival is over. Like, let's rest a little, maybe that much, and we don't say never again because we want to do it every time.
I think, Richa, sometimes the thought that you have, what you're trying to ask us is, sometimes you wonder, why am I doing this? I mean, everybody has a takeaway from a thing that they do, they plan something and do. So, at some point when it gets a little sort of, there is despair or something, you know what I'm talking about. Then you say, why am I doing this? And a lot of people have questioned because it just seems odd that you're putting it, like all your, life, I think, behind it. But I think that comes for a second or maybe a few seconds or maybe a day or something. And then you say, no, but this is what we wanted to do always. I mean, is there anything else I wanted to do at this point? No. So, yeah. So one of the pain points, about the pain points. So one of the pain points is sponsorship. And if we did have some amount of financial backing or some kind of a, falling back on something, so that there's a little bigger team, not a huge team. We don't want to be a corporate. We don't want to build an empire. It's a bit like just a little easy. Everything becomes easy. Then, then this kind of thing doesn't happen. Then you don't feel the pinch. You don't feel like never again or anything because it won't.
So if there's no money, if there's more money, there's no pain. No.
Yeah, maybe. But about the bigger team thing, I must tell you, the public perception is that Bookwood is the nice, meaty sort of a team that's there, a really big, robust one. And you have a huge, set of people who are there, running around all the time, doing everything. So, I mean,
the
public perception is very, very.
What you have to say about that?
The thing about how
you will have to move anymore.
I've reached the end of the house now. So, what I'm trying to say is that things click. Like I said, it's a huge team, but what people fail to realize, it's the volunteers who help us. That's very important. That's like a backbone for us. It's a huge team, but it's operative word is volunteer, and they all help us with setting it up. Not just Swati and I was probably responsible for the entire thing. It's a huge coming in of people who help us.
Yeah. Do you have the same set of volunteers coming in mostly, or you have newer young people coming on board?
New people every time. Most of the time, new people. few people.
Okay. And how difficult is it to get the volunteers on board?
Of late, it has been difficult. Okay. One reason was there was a change in semester systems or something, so we used to get them from college. Right. So that change has happened. A few other changes have happened, like there have been a lot of festivals, and a lot of festivals and big festivals where people volunteer, and sometimes because Bukaroo is a lot of work, lot of hard work, and we cannot offer that kind of facilities that possibly other festivals offer. So sometimes I feel that maybe there could be a... Venki, do you feel that way? Venki, do you feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Sometimes there is naturally, because in the early days, Bukaroo was the only festival, so you could have, that everyone was rushing to volunteer, being even mothers and all of that. Now I increasingly have seen that perhaps there is a bit of a comparison, and we have our one samosa and vada in the morning, one little lunch and all that. We try to do it in the usual Bukaroo way, but just a thought. I mean, I don't know. I may be wrong completely.
I volunteered in the very first one and the second one, and I was there in the author's lounge serving coffee, tea to everyone. And I never failed to bring it up with Rupa at all times, because Rupa was the one who was sitting there in the author's lounge, and it was for me. I hadn't even begun writing at that time, and it was so fascinating to just be there in the same lounge with an author I loved. It was just that. And I mean, I really enjoyed my time.
Also, Richa, having said that, once the volunteer has come in and agreed, they are really good. They do what they are.
That's
all of them.
That's true.
Maybe it's difficult getting them, but once you get them, it's amazing.
And
follow everything.
Okay. In terms of your temperaments, I mean, how hugely opposite are you all, and then how do you all end up bringing those strengths and those madnesses together to create Bukaroo? I mean, the way it comes to us. You don't have to think about it.
We talk.
I know. All that comes to mind immediately is that we are very different. Both of us are very different, as was, Joe also. I mean, we were kind of completely different people. But I don't know. Temperamentally, we are different. I mean, I am sort of more heart. Venki's more head, in a way. If one word difference could be brought to the fore. But I don't know. Venki, you say? What do you think?
But things get sorted out by talking. It could be a 10-minute talk, might take 30 minutes to get things sorted out. And it could get done in 10 minutes. Everyone is at the same mind.
Has it never come to a fist fight kind of a situation between the two of you?
No, never. I never fight.
You see, that's his humor talking. No, we haven't had fights, but we have had to, come to a compromise on an issue, sort of halfway kind of thing. But it has been sort of very loud also sometimes, maybe, or maybe it's not loud in the loud sense, but pretty intense. Yes.
Okay.
So then I have to be reminded also, by the way, I am very bad at that.
Okay.
So at the time of the festival, say I have agreed upon something after this, whatever you call it, that kind of thing, and then I make the mistake again, so during a festival, so then I'll be sort of pulled aside and we agreed that you shall not, and then I have to go back. I'm the one who forgets. Yeah. I sort of forget that part of it because of the heart. Basically just sometimes I give in, sometimes I sort of, I have a problem in being a little firm, let's say. Not that you will say, why do you have to be firm in a festival? It's a firm in life generally, so I'm not very firm with people. I am emotional, I can get angry and all, but I don't think I'm very firm,
Okay.
Yeah, Venki, have I summarized my negative points well enough for you?
She may be meek, but she's not weak, if you know what I mean.
That of course. She's one of the strongest people we have in the kids industry. I mean, in India. And everybody will vouch for it. I mean, she's that steadfast, rock solid person standing there for all of us. That of course, yes. But okay, so let's look at say one edition of Bukaroo. You said heart, heart and mind. What are the Swati touches? What are the Venki touches in a typical Bukaroo that happens?
What?
Yes.
Touches.
Yes. So that, the next time we step into a Buckaroo, going for a Buckaroo.
I am more comfortable with troubleshooting.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah. So when you were saying that.
I don't struggle.
No. What Richa, you were saying about why does it look so calm and all of that? Because Venki handles most of the stuff which I don't even get to know. Troubleshooting, as he said.
So, while Buckaroo is on, you may be engaged with something else totally, and you may not even get to know some of the firefighting situation that Venki is in at that moment. Is it?
Yeah, he will not tell me also. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to say. Because if he does tell me, you'll probably be able to see it on my face because I'm not very good with camouflaging that. So most of the time he manages all the trouble. Look at this simple thing that we kind of lost the, we had a problem with venues twice or thrice in the Delhi Buckaroo's life. Yes. And all 3 times Venki would be somewhere out there managing that while there are, if I may use the word, softer, things to be done, such as managing, talking to speakers or having a Buckaroo pre-festival dinner or something like that we are having. So I'll probably be managing that, or managing the sessions, or managing the stationery and stuff like that, while Venki is doing this is also tough, it's difficult work, but what I'm basically saying is, he manages. So that way
shall we tell her about 2017?
Of course.
She knows.
What happened?
Of course.
She knows about it.
So, I don't tell Swati because she's the world's worst actor, She can't keep it inside. So 2017 is the most interesting thing which happened to us. 10th year of Buckaroo. We had a big splash. We wanted to make a big splash, and everything is ready. This is on the Friday of the festival week. So we get a call from. This happened in 17. Happened in Children's Park, India.
Children's Park. I remember the crisis also. So yeah.
Yeah. So we got a call and saying no.
First want to know, yeah.
No, you can't have this festival here because it's a high security zone and all that. So I said, but then we argued on the fact that we have permissions, So no, but your permission hasn't come to you in writing, has it? It's just been on the thing. Anyway, so to cut a long story short is, we had to, it was a Friday, it was a Friday evening, next 2 days were holidays, there's no way one could do anything about it. So I think till around 10 in the night, we've been working with various government agencies who we probably got to know to someone, and we went to the office, sat there for hours. At 10 o'clock, we get the permission to start do the festival. And imagine everyone is ready, waiting. We have this, international.
Yes.
It includes unlimited minutes just now.
Really?
Yeah. So
I would love it.
Saved by the bell, just like 2017.
Yes.
So that was very interesting. It was very tough. We went mad, but it happened.
And it was our 10th edition, so we had a little bit of we made a presentation.
I must tell you that. So all this would have happened, and then suddenly we see, and your dinner is happening, by the way. If all of us are there, and then we have Venki coming in, making in a late entry sort of thing. And I think, Swati, you announced then that this is something.
Yeah.
Remember?
So then it was, couldn't focus, eyes were at the door, didn't know what was happening because
But I must tell you camouflage. You said you can't do that, but you did it very well.
All right.
So, yes, you did.
And the phone wasn't working there. If you remember, we were in a basement in Habitat Center, so we could not. We weren't able to get
Richard, this was one of the situations where you cannot not afford to tell your partners, Swati and Joe, that this is happening, because it's the end of the festival almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can't come as a surprise.
Yes.
So that's why everyone had to be told. And
but we have had fabulous partners, Richa. Which, since we are talking, I have to tell you that even that night, the people who do our decor, who have been with us for like 6-7 years now, they had stopped work, but the boys had not left the venue. They were sure that, if it has come from whichever body the message had come to us from, that it wasn't going to take place, but they hadn't left the venue. They hadn't picked up because the people had come and said, come on, wrap up now. This is not happening. So they were still waiting with the stuff. The trucks were waiting outside. So the moment Venki came in, and he had already spoken to them overnight. I mean, usually they work overnight, but you know, that enthusiasm and that expectation that yes, these guys might be able to pull it off, you know. So by next morning, you couldn't make out that, you know, the tents had been up, you know, the 2 indoor venues had to be created, remember? And we did all of that. So it was, I mean, we're thankful to everyone. I mean, whoever.
Personally, my stock went up with them hugely, like, you know.
Right.
That's one. And second thing is that the interesting part is the people from where we're supposed to get the permissions from, they all came for the festival.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's right.
Right. That's right.
That was nice. Right. And praised us. Also said, "ये अच्छा, इतना अच्छा बच्चों के लिए आप कर रहे हो इतना." I mean, words to that effect.
Yeah, I know. In fact, actually, one anecdote from that, additional anecdote from that is when the festival ended, and one of these gentlemen, he was there for both days, all through the days.
Okay.
So he said, "मैं retirement के बाद यही करने वाला हूँ आपके साथ."
How wonderful! I mean, just the sheer love that all of you have amassed over the years, Swati, Venki. How does it feel to get that? I mean, there is a huge amount of goodwill that you have all over, and more than goodwill, it's the love. I mean, you can just feel it everywhere.
That is true, actually. That makes us. That's the driving force. That's the driving force.
Right.
Any new idea we have, even now, this Lit House idea that we just came up with.
Yeah.
Is, you know, we just sounded out people and they sort of agreed, and at such short notice, and, you know, just 1 month, and we've done 23, 24 sessions, and everybody kind of pitching in. So many children, which are 1,400 children in a month, is not small, you know, all the schools that we went to. And so I'm really grateful. I mean, it's both ways. I mean, there must be something they get. And of course, we are hugely, hugely enriched by all the, you know, associations that we have made. So it's a two-way thing, I suppose. So,
yeah. And suppose, I mean, the day your one edition of Bookaroo ends, what is the first thing that you'll do when you get back home?
Venki should be able to say. What do we do, Venki?
A drink. A relaxing drink.
Okay. Swati, you?
That's it.
Yeah, same. We have to sort of, you know, call it celebrate, call it whatever. Yeah. It's a because we really don't. Before that, we just don't. It's not as if we meet that often, but that evening we definitely have to. It's become like a custom, actually.
Yeah.
So we do that, and then
favorite drink.
Obviously go to a
favorite drink.
For me, it's gin.
Okay.
Venki, it's rum. Yeah. So whatever time of the night it is, I still have though gin is not. I mean, it's like a day drink, I suppose. Yeah. But that's what I meant by saying we're not that used to or something. But that one evening.
But you can't relax too much because there's still some wrapping up leftovers to done. So, some things. Yeah.
So that's again your capital P, pain point, capital P, resources. If we had that, maybe perhaps we could have, you know, sort of just given instruction. But here we have to physically be there and kind of ensure that the venue is given back in the way we got it. You know, the books have gone back, and all of that we have to stand there and oversee everything. So all of that is there.
Yeah. And is there a difference in the way one get the satisfaction in from, say, the way your Delhi Bookaroo happens and the ones that happen across the other cities?
Is it about satisfaction, you said?
I mean, the
kind. Yeah, certainly, Venki, we would say that the other cities is totally different. I mean, totally different in the sense that Delhi, first of all, Delhi is home. Okay, so, you know, there is that other thing of you're traveling from home, going there, you know who to call up if something's not happening, not working out, all of that. We are familiar with the, you know, pitfalls of the city, etc. But when it comes to the other cities, we are based out of that place. So we are totally dependent on whoever is our local partner or friends or so in some ways it is a bit inhibiting. But at the same time, the festival itself, when it takes place, and the reception that we get from the audience, parents, teachers, children, everybody, that is at another level, totally at another level. And we just that's another driving force. You know, we just realize that there's so much to be done, so much more to be done, so many more children to be, spoken with or reached. You know, that's one very big difference. Delhi children have a lot going on. You know. So it's okay if, they can come to Bukuru or not come to Bukuru. I'm not sure. We don't do that kind of.
Also, it's a little more difficult to do an outstation Bukuru in another city than in Delhi, simply because of the reason she said. Right. So in that way, maybe there's a little more satisfaction having done it successfully. And like in certain places like Pune, we had Pune and all, we had good partners which helped a lot, and that's why we've done Pune thrice, I think. And but not all places are like Pune. We have to do a lot of stuff on our own. I'll just send you a message on your phone, Richa.
So there's a message Venki has sent on your phone.
On my phone?
Yeah. So there was this, there's another thing actually, again, coming back from the resource point of view, even for the other cities, if we could be there for a few more days beforehand or gone there a few times more, nobody believes that we actually go on the festival time.
Yes.
So can you imagine? So you're taking an entire festival, you're responsible for so many speakers, the books, everything. But in reality, we are doing that just 3 or 4 days before, even sometimes just a day before the festival takes place. So that's a lot of work.
I must share this feeling that we as participants have, we as friends who are going there have, is that the day all of us reach, and it's usually in batches that we reach. So there'll be one set coming in from Delhi, Bombay, all people flying from all over the place. And when we reach, it's like both Swati and Venki are there to receive us with such warmth, with such love. And the day gets over, and one by one people start leaving and all that. And then we see, so, when the car is moving out the way, or the bus, or whichever way we have come, we have to go back to the airport and all. It's like almost as if you're leaving a nice wedding, ghar ki shaadi thi koi, and you're leaving that venue, and there, the hosts are there, standing, waving you goodbye. And that's the kind of feeling we get when we see you, Swati and Venki, all the time. So it's like all of us coming in together for a nice festival, for a nice barat, shadi, whatever. And then with such fond memories each time. And the best part about it is that every Bukuru ends up being unique in the experiences that all of us have. Now I'm telling you, our part of the experience. The memories that you'll help build. Those are what we take away with us, and they stay with us. I must tell you, people, that, for each of these outstation Bukurus that they have, that we've had, they've created these little WhatsApp groups. And each of those WhatsApp groups, I'm guilty of not really being all that active, but each of those WhatsApp groups is a complete riot in itself. And the way everyone comes together to share things and to congratulate one another, and it's such a vibrant ecosystem that you've created right there of storytellers and illustrators, authors, everyone put together. And
actually, what you're saying is true. What you're saying kind of aligns with what the thought that we, I don't know if it was a thought which was there before, but it kind of fits in with the thinking, is that it was all a very organic kind of growth. Yeah. Like you said, you were a volunteer in the first. Somebody else also was a volunteer who's become a good storyteller now, and she remembers fondly the Sanskriti Anandgram days,
Yes.
So I'm saying everything has been very organic. So they've seen the growth. So it's almost as if they have grown with the festival. Yes. So that's why we don't have to work very hard in impressing or, being right about it. So even if we make mistakes, they would have seen us in another situation where we didn't make that mistake, or we didn't intend to make that mistake. Yes. So there's never a, which is a double-edged sword, because then again, you are not a very well-planned corporate kind of strategy, kind of all of that. We don't have all of that. So possibly the capital P comes from there also. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Sorry, we don't. Venki, you've been breaking up. You're gone.
I'm choked over emotion. We don't repeat mistakes. We make new ones, but only repeat their mistakes.
True.
Okay. One other thing I wanted to ask you. See, there's a lot of, especially for outstation Bukurus, when we go, you put a lot of thought behind how to keep us all engaged outside of the Bukuru session times, yeah? And, again, the way you all plan things for the after the session in the evenings, at night, that again goes on to show how deeply you have thought about it. See, I mean, there are two ways of planning things. One is you make it a mechanical list of things to do. Okay, that okay, this has to be ticked off, so your people have to be comfortable, etc., etc. And one is trying to just ensure that whoever is there goes back with the fondest of memories that's possible. Experiences and memories. So, how do you all go about creating those kind of plans for us? I mean, I remember like Kohima. I'm telling you, every day, every time I sit with a jug, with a can of beer, there is not a single day when I don't think of the root beer that we had. So it's those little things that you have created in our heads now, and it's going to stay with us forever. Or just the drive and the moonlight. And there's just so many things that happen when you're a part of Buckaroo. So how do you go about ensuring those little touches?
While we do the festival proper planning, we also try to find out about the place, what's interesting, or talk to our local partners, what's interesting, which can be done non-festival time. As in, there has to be after our thing. That's been a bottom line for every Buckaroo we've gone on.
Okay.
The after hour is also thought out as much as the planning of the festival is thought out initially.
Yeah.
So we don't know how. There may places we don't know anything about, like Kohima, for instance. But we had a partners who will tell us, "Ye kar sakte hain, we can do that, I can try this." So that's how things happen. For every city, we have one section planning this also.
That is the head speaking, but the heart will interpret it like this: that just as when we go to a new city, we find things to do, etc. We think of it that way, So if I enjoyed this or I saw this, and most of the time we find that the thinking is similar amongst the authors and us, So if we had liked a certain kind of thing, a craft museum or the caves or something like that, we know automatically that this is something that will appeal, We do have a conversation. It's not as if that is the only thing we had planned. So we do have a conversation amongst ourselves with the local partners that should we do this, should we do that? And then it turns out to be, one of the things that you see, finally you experience. So comes from our own experience. Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll be nearing our 1 hour. So tell me a little about the second innings of Eureka, the bookstore. If you'd like to talk about it yet.
Yeah, we would. I mean, it's so interesting. It's so good. It's such a good feeling so we have to talk about it. We can't stop ourselves, I think. It happened sort of accidentally in that sense, because we had this thought about restarting the bookstore ever since we closed it down. Okay, but we don't know.
So tell the people here, I mean, tell our viewers.
2014 is when we closed down Eureka, the bookstore. Simply because of the higher rents and all, we couldn't manage the sales versus the rents thing. So, but we shifted then we focused more on Buckaroo, and we shifted into Nehru Place. But at the back of the mind, there's always this thing, if only we could have continued with the bookstore. It would have been great fun. We love the bookstore. So while we had met Mr. Pramod Kapoor of Roli Books for some things during just before Bhopal, I think. Let's say around October we met him for something, and just generally talking. And then they have this bookstore called CMYK in GK2, the mark there. They're just below the office. So while nothing much happened, but when we went to Bhopal, he called us. He said that, listen, there's something interesting. And why don't you come over? I said, I'm in Bhopal just now, so maybe once we return from Bhopal, we can. So we met him after we came back from Bhopal. That's around early Jan. And he said, listen, I've got this space here. Why don't Eureka and CMYK partner together and start a bookstore here? So we didn't need a second invitation.
That's for that.
And, a lot of Roli is very important in this whole scheme of things also.
And I want to add that at the time when we planned in the beginning, the January, February months, we were thinking at a different pace and all of that, right? And then this whole, pandemic erupted.
Yeah.
So we don't know if we would have continued had it not been for assurances from them. Both Kapil, Priya, all of them have been constantly sort of encouraging and being supportive of this thing. Otherwise, how on earth can you think of opening a store at this time? So while you had all your plans and all the
dreams. That's GK2 market.
Yes, GK2 market. So, and people won't nobody will in their right mind would think of starting retail thing. So I'm just looking forward to this association beyond, again, as you say, our associations are like that, beyond this just an arrangement between two people. It's more of like-minded book lovers who are getting together to give an experience to their readers, whether we do it online, offline, how, deliveries, all of that. We had planned a lot of events also because there was reasonably more space than the old Bookaroo, old Eureka. But obviously the events thing will have to be online as of now. But without this association, it wouldn't have been possible. So frankly speaking, the second inning of Eureka it's totally dependent on this association that we made with them. And we're so happy that we are still able to pursue this.
Yeah, but that's not going to take away the passion from the Bookaroo bit of it, of course, because how will you manage everything now? Because Bookaroo is also huge. I mean, spanning cities, countries. How will you all put your resources in?
There won't be much change because we used to do it when we had Eureka also. Remember 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we did Bookaroo and Eureka simultaneously. And we also, did we have Malaysia then? No, we didn't have Malaysia then.
We had Malaysia in 2015. 15, 16 and 17, 3 years.
Yeah, but still, it'll be tough. I know it'll be tough, but since we have some experience of having done it before, so we'll probably use that.
Forgetting the age factor completely, as you can see. Totally forgetting the age factor completely. So that's that, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Any in these last so many years, even a single day where you've not thought of Bookaroo at all, when it's just been a Bookaroo free mind? Impossible?
Except for some personal stuff that was happening at some point, some stuff happened. Like I was just telling Venki that was one time. But honestly speaking, even at that time, I mean, everybody goes through personal, trauma, so things happen. So even that time, I have to say that, both of us, we've been through, troubled times. Everybody goes through them. Bookaroo has actually, the Bookaroo community has, supported you, been there all the time. So really speaking, the question that you have, we can't go too far away from this, because there are all these friends, associations that we have made. They're always sort of embracing you and keeping you together. Even now that we are talking to you at this time about this, when the online on-ground festival, we don't know. I mean, we plan to do it in November. We don't know what shape or size it will be, but we are still talking about Bookaroo. So, at all times it has been there, omnipresent. Yeah, Venki?
Yes.
Yes.
You can't take Bookaroo out of us. It's a simple thing.
Great. So I think we'll end on that note. I like, you can't take Bookaroo out of you both, and that's how it has to be. Yes. Great. I mean, but I must tell you, it's always such a warm feeling chatting with both of you. I mean, offline, online, wherever. Yes.
But I have to say one thing, Richa, while we agreed that we will talk to you, we are not good with talking. Honestly speaking, this is not who we are. So if anybody was to see us talk and figure out, are these the Bookaroo people, please, you can make your own opinions if you want, but we are not great with being sort of how do you present yourself and how do you speak and all of that.
That's okay. You're not presenting yourself here at all. I am drawing things out of you here. So, and I give you no choice. That is why the conversation is happening. Thanks. So wonderful. So wonderful. I mean, it's been a lovely chat, and this is the very, very first time I'm doing this, right? So for me also, it is just as important as, I'm not comfortable talking at all. So, I mean, that makes 3 of us, and good that we had this chat. Yes? Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.